I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
Listen, we're just two single girls from the City of Roses discussing all things love, lust, and perception.
And roses are a symbol of all things beautiful about love.
But as you know, love can get a little dirty. So we're here to talk about it.
Dirty Roses Podcast starts now.
Hey, I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
And welcome to Dirty Roses Podcast.
Yes.
Guess what?
I'm excited for today's show.
Look, you've been saying excited more than I have been saying excited.
I know.
Yeah. Because we get to dive into the mind of some men. We get to hear what they talk about behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors.
You know, the part where we don't get to be invited in.
But we're going to be today.
We are.
Yes.
Because we're doing Barbershop talk.
Hey.
And this is actually part one of part two, because we're going to do a beauty shop talk also. So it's going to be like a men's conversations versus women's conversations in two different episodes. So this will be fun.
Yes.
We're being joined by this illustrious man, this man of many wisdoms and worlds and entrepreneurship activities, all the things. We got the barber, the entrepreneur, the event promoter, the future podcaster, the traveler, all the things.
All the things.
All the things. We got Uncle E in the building.
Hey.
All right. That's what's up.
Story behind how we met Uncle E was that he actually is the promoter for the Wine on the Water. And that is the event that we heard about in Baltimore.
Yes.
I traveled out to the DMV. Nick B done gathered up a whole group of girls.
A swaggle of us.
What?
Squaggle?
Oh, I think it said swallow. I said, oh, we swallowing us. Gotcha. Okay. Not quite there.
Well, maybe we'll get there.
Swallow us. Yes, I like it. But yes, so we went out to Baltimore. We went to this event, had a VIP tent. It was a dope event, like over 3,000 people. We talked about this in our recap.
Yeah.
But it was one of the funnest things that we did in a long time.
And it was so chill. Yeah. It was absolutely for the grown and sexy. It had something for everybody. Yeah. The vendors were on point. The food was on point. Music, everything. It was a great day.
Yes, and we left late.
That's dope.
When we say we mean Leigh. Because I had to drive.
That's the firecracker right there, man. I knew she was going to be that way because of our interaction, like via. I think we spoke and we texted, and she was like, "I think I'm getting on your nerves and things." I'm like, "No, I mean, like people. This is what they do when you don't know. You don't know, you don't know. Like, what am I?" And she was so cognitive of y'all well-being. You know what I mean? She's like, "I don't know where the tickets are. What is this? How am I?" I'm like, we got you. We got you. Everything is. But she was looking out for her girls in like a major way, man. She really, really was. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you recognize that.
Yeah.
Because everybody else be like, if this bitch don't stop calling me and texting me.
No, I will tell you though, I did get kicked out of your event twice within the first hour. You had this one security guy who was absolutely like, "You out of here." We evidently drove down the wrong way. We just simply didn't know what we didn't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
And he was doing his job. But we absolutely got thrown out before we ever got in. And then there was another situation where I was going back to help another one of our girls get in. He's like, you're going the wrong way. This is already for people that have paid. And I'm like, I know. He was ready to eject me again. I said, "You already kicked me out once."
But to be fair, they were really fun later.
They were.
We got some good photos with the security guard.
Yeah, it's three of us who do it. So we all handle different parts. And one of the guys, he handles the front of the house, and he handles like for a lot of festivals and any major events, the entrances. And so those security guys, man, they're tough. It can get ugly. And then after once you're in, they're like, "Hey, I didn't really mean that. I had to, you know what I mean?" So
it was a whole like, follow our podcast.
Right.
And they were like, sure.
They did do a good job. Make sure that they come back because they're on point. Yes.
But it was amazing, and we had a really good time. We'll be back next year. We're probably bringing more people and having more tents.
Yes. But let's get into some of this discussion.
So this whole dynamic right now is because we scour social media. We get lots of input from listeners and people who follow us about our ideas or our thoughts on different topics, hot topics, things that are play out on social media, on top of questions that we have that we get from people just in general that want to know about what men think.
So we have a list of questions that we are going to ask you, and that we are later going to ask a set of women for salon talk. And the whole concept here is to kind of see how men think and respond to the same questions that we're going to throw at some ladies. So of course we are going to start with you.
Yes. You ready?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. You're going to get a very honest interpretation of my thoughts on things. Okay.
So one of the first questions that I have off bat is, what are the most common complaints that men have as they sit down in your chair when they're talking about their old lady, that woman back home? What is the grief?
Well, the most common thing is, it's not something men, I don't know, I don't want to say that this is what they complain about, but from my synopsis, the conclusion is, because men complain about, or they talk and mention a lot of things, a lot of little things, but they all derive from lack of communication. That's, I'm here to tell you, I want to make it juicy. I don't want to make it juicy. I want to keep it 100, because guys, they complain about this, that, the third. And don't get me wrong, they don't come in the barbershop and be bitching. It usually gets to a certain point, and then the top blows, and this is a very safe place for them to, boom, 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 boom. And then, like, throughout the process, you can kind of, a guy with a certain lady might be like, oh, it just builds up. It builds up. And then the whole time I'm like, y'all haven't talked about this, or, she hasn't conveyed something in a certain way, or vice versa. So it's really the lack of communication, or the level of understanding.
So that brings up a good point. So, like, if you're saying that they come to the barbershop and they ask these questions and they don't, but then you find out, like, through their conversation, that they haven't actually had this conversation with their significant other, do you guys all jump on board and be like, yeah, fuck that bitch, she ain't shit, or do you be like,
you hoe, you
probably should
bitch.
talk to your girl, maybe have this, what's the direction that you guys advise this person on?
Well, I'm 53 years old, so are we able to curse on here?
Hell yeah!
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah!
So in that barbershop setting, it would probably be like, oh man, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? That 20s, and then when you get to your 30s, it's like, man, I don't, there's a level of understanding. It's starting to come into play. And, so part of it is F that situation. And then part of it is, I don't know, man, you got to kind of figure it out. You know what I mean? And then the 40s, it's like, you've kind of been burnt by helping, or what you think is helping someone. And you kind of, you just learn, listen, and stay out of it. And, as you kind of getting, to the end of your 40s, there's wisdom there. You know what I'm saying? And there's life, you know what I mean? So it's not all one thing. That's one thing I always say. Nothing is all one thing all the time. So
yeah.
So what I'm hearing is, in the 20s, you're fucking up. In your 30s,
you're fucking up.
Your 40s, you like, fuck this shit. And in your 50s, you're like, I've learned all my good lessons and I'm a good listener and communicator. So we need to date men in our 50s is what I'm hearing.
Listen, that's who I'm getting hit on these days by.
I'm still getting the fuck ups.
I'm getting Heinz 57.
Heinz 57, the slow pour, because you got to tap the bottle on the back end. You know, if you listen, tap that 57-year-old man on the ass and be like, "Come on now, a little scoot." You know what I'm saying?
Hilarious.
So you say that they complain a lot, or they come in and start. They, as you said, they start bitching. What are they bitching about?
You know, and once again, it's all codependent on uh at what point in time they are in their lives. You know what I'm saying? If if I have younger guys, then it's just, oh, when I was younger, it's, I guess it was more or less like, oh, she's hanging out too much, or, and when we were younger, it was more or less guys were upset that the women were able to catch them in their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I can't believe. And I'm like, yo, you fucking up. Like like,
damn, she ain't believe my lies.
Right, exactly. That part. Yeah.
Now she didn't believe my lies and I feel a way about it.
Yeah. And then you got to remember that a lot of these guys are young fathers, and they're learning how to be dads, and it's the baby mama drama. That younger stuff was a lot of baby mama drama. Early people get married I ain't gonna say too early, but very early, and they're not equipped. They were nowhere near equipped, ready. So it's a lot of drama. It's a lot of stuff that comes with that. You know what I'm saying? And then you got people who are just they weren't supposed to be together at all. So
right.
Guilty.
So then, especially as a barber, do you find yourself acting as a therapist? Because I feel like people come, especially now, listen, I can say when I go to a salon, I'm sitting down in that chair and we just start talking, and she's styling my hair, and it's, oh yeah, well, you should do this and that. And do you find yourself more as a therapist when you sitting down with these fellas?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's most definitely part of the job. You walk a very fine line. Some of these people, they become their clients, and then they become friends, and then they become your family. You know what I'm saying? And you learn and understand their traits and personalities. So you kind of learn how to talk to them. And then even moreover, because of the job, it's my career. I've been doing this for a very, very, like, since I was like in the 8th grade. I started cutting hair and whatnot. So
Back in the 1900s, huh?
In the 1900s.
yeah, oh yeah, that part, the early, you know what I mean? And so to the point that it's like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not, a counselor or anything like that, but I looked into it, you know what I mean, and how to be able to talk to people and things like that, because it can get a little sticky too. We're from Baltimore, so Baltimore is a very leery town. It's one of the craziest, it's one of the strangest places I've ever lived, and I've lived all over the world.
I mean, break that down to me, because you're talking to two girls not from the area. Now, I live in the DC area, but I am obviously not in Baltimore. So what do you mean by leery?
Well, Leary, in the sense of that, let's just say, we're hanging out. Okay. We're hanging out. We're just we're on our block that we grew up on. Okay. You know what I mean? And we all know everybody, 2 blocks over this way, 2 blocks over that way. And we see Michelle going up the street. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? We talking to her, blah, 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 blah. Then 2 minutes later, someone can come up, and we know this person. We know Craig. And Craig can say, hey, Nick, did you see Michelle? No. And Michelle has literally just turned the corner and stuff like that. So you'll say you didn't see her? You didn't see her. Like, this is like commonplace, and stuff. Like, they don't want to be responsible for anything that could happen. You know what I'm saying? Or something. It's you cannot. One thing I love is someone who is just like outgoing, forth. Nikki, Leah, Leah. Boom. What you see is what you get. And this city is, depending on where you the circles that you're in, you know what I'm saying? They can't handle that. They can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? They just can't handle that. Like even if you're being like the most
So in other words, I would be too much for somebody from Baltimore.
very much so. Codependent on the setting. Codependent on the setting that you're in. But more than
That makes
likely,
sense.
Like so this actually we're kind of figuring out now maybe why love doesn't work for Leigh on the East Coast, because it seems like maybe her energy is too high for some of the gentlemen that she's gone on dates with or met or whatever, because maybe that's what the issue is.
I need to tone it down.
Maybe she needs to tone it down. I don't know, because
I would never change myself for someone. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you should change that just means that person is not for you, or
exactly.
you guys just deal with each other.
Exactly.
Cause fuck these niggas.
Cause F these hoes.
Don't change. Don't change. That's tough. Don't change. Don't change. Don't do that. Cause you will be in a world of misery trying to adhere to somebody else's thing, and you are fighting every day. You know, trying to be L.
Yeah,
and
that's
L trying to
appreciate that. Thank you. But hot topics. Yeah. What's your first hot topic that you want to dive into?
Okay, so we're gonna revisit a couple questions that we asked last season when Leigh and I were doing some hot topics, and we gave our thoughts on it. And I'm sure you probably haven't heard it, but this will be great because now we want a fresh take from you. My first question to you is, what do you think about women who have had BBLs or body enhancements? So from a man's perspective, do men really love those bodies, or what are your guys' thoughts on that body type? Because it seems like women are getting it done and they think the men's love it, and I'm just curious, what are your thoughts?
From my standpoint, I no. You know what I'm saying? From a barbershop standpoint, and we talk about this, you know what I'm saying? And it's men like more natural bodies. You know what I'm saying? Especially as the man gets older, now he understands, man, this woman has given me kids. This woman, life is life in. They understand health things. They understand all of that. But I'm not saying they don't mind the BBLs and all that other stuff. But when it's done, when it's overdone, it just takes out all of the sex appeal and all of that and everything. And then the originality of a woman kind of goes away, because if you look at it, a lot of the women, they start dressing in a certain way all the time. They don't have any, their style is gone. There's no style, because there's a difference between fashion and style. And then, it's just, if it's done tastefully, all right, okay. You wanted something a little lifted, you want to, but when you go from, regular plain Jane to Barbie and boom, 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 it's just, it's
so
just
it's
not,
kind of like what we hear about weaves.
Be hard,
like,
and
guys don't mind weaves if the weaves look natural. So you don't mind the BBL as long as it looks like a natural body.
Okay, but so me, I've never worn a weave or a wig, and I've always wondered, like, when you're with your girl and you ready for that yanking and spanking, doesn't that just ruin the flow when you can't grab a good handful of hair because her whole neck?
If it's sewn in right, you can snatch and grab it all day.
I feel like no man wants to go in and pull out a whole head of hair.
Tested
like,
and tried.
Girl.
Listen, tested and tried. If it's sewn in right, you good.
I'm just saying, and beat her ass with her own hair.
Bitch, I did have a ponytail fall out one time.
Shit, you had a ponytail fall out
because I didn't have time to go get my hair done before I went on a trip, and I had a ponytail, and it absolutely fell out.
And y'all kept rocking anyway with a little nublet on top.
We just threw it to the side.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I haven't experienced that just because I've never worn anything like that. So, but that's how I always imagined it would be, that you'd be in the middle of getting it on and just doing this with the ponytail. You know what I mean? Tossing it in a corner. In my mind.
Oh.
Well, we now we know what you guys like, clearly. So
that's just what I assumed would happen.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I'm the type of guy that I don't like
That
too
is-
much in excess. I don't, whether I don't mind you wearing makeup. I just don't like, I don't want you looking like a clown. I don't like too much makeup.
You don't like the eyelashes that do this, that have
wink.
the big wing eyelashes?
No.
Okay, what do men think about the baby hairs? Because I've also seen this where women are like doing their baby hair all the way down to their eyebrows, and that seems excessive.
When I was in Baltimore and I had went out to eat with someone, the waitress had the baby hairs that literally covered her whole forehead, almost touched her eyebrows, and swooped around.
That was her whole lace front.
And we literally were like, we could not stop looking at her. We were like, and he was in awe. He was like, I've never seen it in person. It's like, I've only seen it on social media, and we could not stop looking. And we were like, can we get a drink?
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much for me.
Okay,
I'm very honest. I got daughters, and one of them is 23. She's very bohemian. So she's kind of all natural or whatever, braids and all that other type of stuff or whatever. But the other one, she's she fly. She want to be Angela, Russell Simmons. Yeah, Simmons, and Yandy is like, she loves, and I'm like, babe, don't know. And she's like, Dad, you don't like this, do you? No.
But she thinks you're telling her no from a dad perspective, not from guys ain't trying to see it. So she can't even take you serious.
Hey, her man, I don't know if her man likes it, but then you go get the vacation hair and you're looking like Diana Ross. And I'm like, yo, it's just too much. I don't like too much. And most guys don't like too much.
So why do you think then girls are getting their hair and lashes and all these extras done? Do you think they're doing it because we think guys like it? Like, are there some guys that are like, yeah, keep doing that? Or do you think that it's just for us? Like, I can't tell who women are doing it for. If guys are kind of like, it's not really it.
I mean, okay, so maybe clarification, because we hear a lot of guys say that they don't like that for their woman. But they'll absolutely play with them, because we talked about that before. Like, they don't mind them as play toys, or it's nice to look at and play with, but for their actual significant other who they taking home to mom or whatever, that's not what they like. So can you clarify that?
That's good. That's good. That's good. Like, what don't get your wants and your needs mixed up, my dad used to say. So what you will settle down with and what you play with are they're along the same lines, but they're different. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot. There's women that I've dated, and I wanted to date them. Maybe because of how they look.
I was gonna say what you mean. You wanted to have sex with them.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Or what they had to offer, or what they did, or how they did it, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But what I want to marry, or what I married, or what I wanted to settle down with, or is not that. They have that. It's just not that all the time. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So yeah, there is a what is that word I'm looking for? It's a double standard. It's a double standard, but it's a preference too. So I think a lot of guys don't necessarily bring home what they just fuck around with. You know what I'm saying?
So on the subject of bringing women home and settling down, what are your thoughts on women who propose to their man for marriage? What do you think of that?
That's crazy. That's crazy. A friend of mine, what was the last holiday? Labor Day?
Yeah.
Popular guy, popular DJ. And he's been a ladies' man, but he's been with this chick for a while now. And she it was a big deal. Like, and then you put this man on, no matter what. What, I'm not going to say that. If I was going to say, when you put a person on the spot, or if it looks like you're putting a person on the spot, that's not good. You know what I'm saying? Because the reaction is, if the
is the
guy,
answer.
yeah, if the guy kind of proposes and you can see the surprise and then the adulation and then the true and tears and you say, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? But then if the person, it could be the guy or the girl, and she goes to propose, or he goes to propose, and there's this big ass soliloquy before explaining their relationship and all that other. I'm like, oh man, man.
Then the man gets to looking around at his friends like, oh shit.
Bro.
If I say no, I'm not getting no more sex.
Get to the meat and potatoes of the love thing, not the years and fears and all my tears. And then I remember that one time
he done cheated on me about 5 times, and we stuck it out, and we got 5 kids, but 3 of them ain't mine. But I raise them, and then he still live with his mama, but he's saving money to buy me a house. But that's why I want to marry him. Like,
all I know is, and I've said this many times on the show before, that proposals are not set up to say no, right? Regardless of who's doing the proposing, if the man is asking or the woman, it's like, it's one of those things where it's not really designed in the moment for you to be like, nah, I'm good. Because then you're embarrassing everybody. But really, we've always thought like a woman proposing to a man just seems bizarre. Like, it almost seems like it emasculates the man. And I'm just, but I'm curious, like, have you ever met anybody who was a guy that was proposed to where they then had the wedding? Like, what is the dynamics of the relationship?
You said, did I ever meet what now?
Did you ever meet a man who he was the one that got proposed to, meaning the girl proposed to him and they actually went through with the wedding?
No.
Exactly.
Damn.
It fell apart during the wedding. It was like, who's wearing the dress? Who gets the veil? Okay.
It borderlines between what you say, desperation and what the fuck? Like, what the
not that's desperation and what the fuck.
That's a very good way to put it. Very eloquent. What the fuck?
Me and my wife was driving, and this was when we were saying it was happening in real time because of what I just said. It literally, people were pinging people in. They were at a cookout, and people were like, you got to see this. You got to see this. Shit went viral.
It was
like that.
Practical.
So we were watching it, and you just feel so embarrassed. Like, oh my.
Oh, he said, oh my God.
I feel embarrassed for him.
Right, you clutching your pearls like, oh, you know what I mean? It's crazy, and her prequel to the asking was made up of all of that, because you took on little Dre, and even though he's not your son, and we took a break, and no, don't do that. Just profess your love.
all that.
And keep it moving, man. That's tough.
I
told my wife, she said, well, what would you have done? And I said, what I would have had done was I would have just grabbed her. I would have grabbed her and said, no, I love you too much. I would have professed my love for that woman in front of everybody. Don't. You're not going to do this to us. You know what I mean? You deserve better. You deserve better.
You flipped it.
You deserve better than this.
You deserve better than I. Grab her by the face and be like,
by the weave and the baby hairs.
By the weave, the baby hair, the lashes, and redirect this whole conversation.
And you got to reassure her, like, look, we're going to do this. We are going to do this. But we're going to do this. I'm going to be the one. You're my woman. I'm a man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I would have just.
Okay. Good. We are of like mind then. We are of like mind, but we just know that we have seen these proposals on the internet, and we're just like, what is going on? What do men really think? So thank you for breaking that one down for us.
So I did want to go back and say something, because you mentioned we were talking about sex and all those things, and me being the firecracker that I am, is there such thing as good head?
You said, is there such thing as good head?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No,
Okay.
there's such thing as bad head. Okay. So so usually if a man is getting head, that's pretty good for him. That's good. Okay.
Just in general, like basic ass head.
In general. But then there's levels. There's levels. You know what I'm saying? There are levels, you know what I mean? And just because you might be doing some of the newer tricks or
what they call them, gooch goblins?
I don't know, but he said, did you say something with some pineapple?
Yeah, just because you're doing that doesn't mean you're doing it well. You know what I mean? You can get but you can get not good head, which is still good because you're getting it, as long as it's not painful.
Oh no.
So the reason why this came up,
God,
is because Leigh and I were kind of having this conversation about how it seems that lots of guys like to throw out compliments of, oh yeah, you're good at this, I like this, you're amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Leigh and I are both overachievers, and so if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it to the best of our ability, right?
Yeah.
The difference here is one of us absolutely enjoys giving head. The other of us is kind of like...
I feel like the way that I'm laughing is giving it away.
Well, now that you said it.
Because the other one is like, and you're the
I wasn't that though. Okay, so Leigh loves
don't say I love... Good God, Jesus.
Have fun.
I'm a free spirit.
She's a free spirit.
I like to experiment.
When you're doing it, you love doing it. You love doing it. It's not like,
I'm a
I just love
person.
Yeah. You're not walking down the street talking about, yeah, can I give you some head?
Exactly.
That part. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for that clarification. Because she made me like to be a whole whore. A mouth whore.
She's a wordsmith.
Talking to the mic.
Talking to the mic. No, but really what we were kind of trying to get at here is that it seems like compliments are constantly being thrown about, oh, you're good, this is amazing, I love this. And we just want to know, is that just something all guys say because they're getting it in the moment? Or is there really a difference between someone who performs really well and who's not? Like, is a girl who's not doing well still going to get a compliment?
Well, it's a twofold situation. So you can say, men lie. You know what I'm saying? So now you're not lying because they're saying something good about you. You know what I'm saying? But then it's another thing where it's that if it's good, it's, it could be sex talk. It could be sex talk. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that people, I digress, but I'm gonna say it's really crazy when you're in, and that's why I try to be as totally honest as possible all the time, because it's like, well, you only believe me when I'm telling you something good. So, but if I tell you something that you don't like or don't agree with, then it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey, there's
levels.
There's levels. There's a difference there, and it's all preference, because this one person can do the same thing to me as she did to Bobby, and I'm like, it was all right. It was
okay. But understanding you and Bobby like different things.
And what about Ricky and Mike? Because Ricky and Mike like different things too. You know what I'm saying?
This is what's making you sound like a wordsmith.
God damn it. But the other thing that was in this discussion though was that we talked about men actually claim to not get head as often as we think they do, and that men almost prefer head over sex. I've heard this a lot.
Not in my situations, to be clear.
Yeah, I would concur with that on the basis of expectations. If you're just receiving something, then you're not expected to, give on a certain level. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot. If you're in a relationship or something like that, you're having, and you know what beginning sex is, you know what that during sex is, and you know what that boom. But if you're just, if you're rolling over and you're giving me head, then it's the gift that keeps on giving, and I don't necessarily, and you're not,
even if it's lazy head. Like, I don't know if I want that gift on repeat if it's gonna be not energetic.
No.
Do men care?
No. Because, like, what is your favorite food? You know what I mean? Like, let's just say pizza. Everybody eats pizza.
Okay.
And it's like one of the most, it's one of the most eaten foods, in the world. And you're going to get good pizza, and you're going to get average pizza, and you're going to get, it wasn't that good. You're going to get store-bought oven, whatever pizza, but you're still going to eat pizza. You know what I mean? You're still going to eat it. You know what I mean?
You're still going to eat this pizza.
You're going to eat this pizza.
So you're like Little Caesars. And I'm like,
I don't want to be Little Caesars. I'm not Little Caesars. Okay.
I don't know, but I'm like that gourmet cauliflower crust, chicken,
cauliflower crust on a pizza,
lamb Mediterranean,
not lamb and
bistro style pizza. It's fucking fire.
That sounds. I've never had that.
A Mediterranean lamb pizza, yes, bitch, and it's fire.
Cauliflower crust.
I mean, maybe not on color.
From Portland right now.
I mean, I could say I'm that Costco Sam's Club pizza. You know what I'm saying? Because that should be hitting.
Those $1.99 slices.
They big, you just fold them over. The juices be pouring out. Bitch, I'm a Costco pizza. Come on.
Dirty Roses.
For $10.99. You get the whole
I get it now. Dirty Roses. These Dirty Roses.
Hey.
Oh my God. But no, but I also heard because men have to exert themselves more during sex, so they prefer head sometimes because it's less work.
Did you call me Little Caesars pizza?
Are you still?
Yes.
$6.99, hot and ready. He's like, I'm done. Exiting stage left.
I hate it.
Now, speaking of like barbershop, now that is one topic that has always been and remained the same from my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. You always talk about sex, always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, not all the time, not with every guy all the time, but there's never been a time where I've been cutting hair and they just talk about sex. So everybody talk about sex.
Yeah.
Do you think men settle? Because we talked about this too, like in sex and in relationships and just in general. Do men settle?
Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? And in regards to that, you got to understand too, like we were talking about the woman proposing. Okay, so men have the power of, and I say I use that loosely, but they have the power of choosing the woman that they want to be with for the rest of their life, or whoever they want to. But most of the guys that I know who have been married and divorced, that second person really has their shit together. Like this woman really has their shit together, like on damn near all levels. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot. Therefore, oh my. Now I'm gonna tell you guys something. Okay. I'm gonna. Man, this one right here is gonna. I'm gonna tell you guys something. Okay. So I'm having an epiphany right here, right now, because I said this before. I didn't know I was gonna say this on here, but it was something that was going on in my mind. Cheating. Okay.
I was gonna ask you next about
all right. Cheating. Okay. from my synopsis, that men who have cheated, more often than not, men who have cheated don't cheat from a standpoint of uh un un to go back with what we were saying, they might have settled in a certain area.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And they're getting this adulation, they're getting this spice, it has absolutely, more often than not, it has absolutely nothing to do with the person that they're with. Love, care, dote, take care of. Like, I know people who have stepped out in their marriages and they love their wives. They love their wives. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot. Never said anything. I mean, when you're cutting this person's hair every week or every other week and you hear everything about this person, you know what I'm saying? I can base it on that. You know what I mean? Because I also hear the other part where, man, boom, 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 and this dude is complaining constantly, and he's stepping out. So nothing is all 100 all the time. It's not all men this, all women this, or all this. Or I know guys who truly, truly love their wives, and they have stepped out on them. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot.
So we actually kind of came to that conclusion. We were talking about this, and some of the previous episodes that we've done have talked about how I seem to find myself often in situations where a guy is married, and unbeknownst to me, and starting in a relationship with this person, I'm not fully aware that this guy was married. And then once I find out, it's over. And so we've had these talks about, like, well, why are dudes who are married actively seeking something out of their marriage? Why not just leave their marriage? But as what you just said, and kind of what we concluded, it's that it's not that they don't love who they're with. It's just that maybe it's an 80-20 thing. She's got 80% of what I'm looking for, but that 20% over there, is interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not all. And let it be clear, it may not be, cheating is not always based on the physical aspect of things.
Right.
You can cheat emotionally,
Mhm.
financially. You can cheat. There's so many different aspects of cheating. It can just be companionship.
And do men really identify emotional cheating as cheating? Because we've also had that discussion as to what do you really consider cheating? And most women absolutely consider emotional cheating, the financial cheating, having a conversation that you would have with another man that you wouldn't have with your partner.
Right.
And so do guys see it the same way, or are they like, nah, if it's not physical, it's not cheating?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. They look at it. They look at it the same way, and I will tell you this: y'all are some tough creatures, women, because these dudes cannot handle. Well, I'm just gonna say men.
Mhm.
Men cannot handle what a woman can, like. A dude will just be he's in a dark corner, curled up like a
In the
child,
corner crying.
like,
Right. You can dish
I
it, but you
mean,
can't take it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, or even if this dude is not doing anything, if he gets a whiff, or if his lady stepping out, or that makes it even worse. I've seen dudes who, they're doing their thing, and then it's no fun when the rabbit has the gun and they're ready to kill everybody.
That's
But
a
then
bit
there's
crazy.
dudes.
But so why is that though? Why is it that men get so flustered or upset or overly, if for them cheating might just be that one little tiny piece of what they're missing in the relationship, and there's an expectation of forgiveness or understanding? Why is it that when women cheat, it's like tenfold falling over the floor crying and everything else?
It's I think it's just a lack of taking care of your most prized possession. You understand? When you that now I'm looking at you, I have already deemed you my most prized possession, but now I have to I'm looking at you in that way, but when something happens, now it's real. Shit gets when it gets real, it's tough. And the women, bar none, are the toughest creatures that's walking this earth, man. You guys are, it's crazy. It's crazy the level of whatever the fuck y'all can.
So basically, communication is like our theme here. So what advice would you give? What advice would you give to, I don't know, what are we asking for advice in this episode?
I don't know if we're really asking for advice as much as it is that we've just sort of appreciated kind of getting this insight.
Yeah. We always end up asking for advice, but this was like a whole episode full of advice.
I know, and I feel like we ran out of time to even dive deeper into some of these topics because like we could go on and on forever here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mr. Uncle E, where can people find you and what you got coming up?
Well, my festival season, and I say me, my group that I'm with, you guys can look us up. The festival that Leah was talking about is called Wine on the Water, Baltimore. It's on IG, Wine on the Water, Baltimore. You guys can look me up at Uncle E12 on Instagram, or Eric Cheatham on Facebook. I throw a monthly party with some of my guys. It's Social Elite. We don't have a page. It's just a monthly thing, and people come out.
That's dope.
Listen, let me know. I'm trying to be at the next Social Elite with all the men.
We're gonna be parking lot pimping.
Okay, I'm gonna be there.
You know what, Nick? At the end of October, I have I do a lot of collaborating. I just love to collaborate, but I'm going to start doing some things on my own too, which is and I have a running series called For the Love of R&B, and I didn't do anything this summer, but I'll have something at the end of October for the Love and R&B. I'll send you the information, and it'll be on Eventbrite. It is, and it's
Absolutely.
all R&B all night.
I'll be there. Hopefully, we'll be there.
Maybe I'll fly in for a weekend again.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Nick B, where can they find you?
Yes. So I can be found, of course, on all outlets of Dirty Roses Podcast. May that be our Facebook, our Instagram, or just simply visit our website. And if you want to reach me specifically, I can be found on Instagram at NickB_NickB. That's Nick with a K. And Miss LaRie, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me in the Poetic Justice Foundation building right here where our set is taking place. The Poetic Justice Foundation is doing all kinds of things around creating wealth in the Black community. They're doing things around investments, educating, doing outreach, and actually taking action on making these things happen. So y'all head to thepoeticjusticefoundation.org to learn more about their mission, see how you can donate so they can keep doing this work, so we can keep using this space. But other than that, y'all can find me at LaRie on all social media platforms. That's LeighlaRie. Dirty Roses Podcast on all platforms. DirtyRosesPodcast.com. Leave us a review, a voicemail. Catch up on all previous seasons, all the episodes that we've done so far this season. Leave us a review. Get some advice. Give us a crazy dating story.
All of it.
And we'll share it next time. All right, thanks. Bye.
Guess what, Rose Buddies? We are thrilled to introduce our new sponsorship packages. Be sure to hit us up at DirtyRosesPodcast.com to inquire how we can showcase your brand on our platforms.